Revived, he was lying in the hot sun in the middle of a garden path, very draggled indeed, and a small boy was saying, "Here's a dead mongoose, let's have a funeral." A got up very quickly, B came back to life or consciousness, C fought a formidable, scary enemy, D was unable to move his muscles. Choose 3 of the following that prove Rikki exemplifies, shows examples of, the curiosity of a true mongoose in his first days in the bungalow. A. Rikki nearly drowns himself while investigating the bath. B. Rikki sleeps in the nursery with Teddy. C. Rikki puts his nose in the ink on the table trying to figure out how the big man writes. D. Rikki explores the garden. E. Rikki is taken back to the bungalow by the family. 3. Which piece of evidence shows a part of the setting? A. One day a high summer flood washed him out of the burrow where he lived with his father and mother and carried him, kicking and clunking, down a roadside ditch. B. He had forgotten the egg. It still lay on the veranda, and Nagina came nearer and nearer to it. C. He was a mongoose, rather like a little cat in his fur and his tail, but quite like a weasel in his head and his habits. D. No, said his mother, let's take him in and dry him. Perhaps he isn't really dead. Number 4. What inference, reasoning, can be made about Rikki Tikki's first impression, feelings of the garden? A. He was delighted. B. He was nervous in his new home. C. He felt lost and confused. D. He was frustrated and angry. Number 5. What detail from the story best supports Rikki Tikki's first impression, feelings of the garden? A. He scuttled up and down the garden, snuffing here and there, till he heard very sorrowful voices in a thorn bush. It was Darzee, the tailor bird, and his wife. B. He spent all that day roaming over the house. He nearly drowned himself in the bathtubs, put his nose in the ink on a writing table, and burnt it on the end of a man's cigar, for he climbed up in the big man's lap to see how writing was done. C. It was a large garden, only half cultivated, with bushes as big as summer houses, of Marshall Neal roses, lime and orange trees, clumps of bamboos, and thickets of high grass. Rikki Tikki licked his lips. "This is a splendid hunting ground," he said, and his tail grew bottle bushy at the thought of it. D. At nightfall he ran into Teddy's nursery to watch how kerosene lamps were lighted, and when Teddy went to bed, Rikki Tikki climbed up too. But he was a restless companion, because he had to get up and attend to every noise all throughout the night and find out what made it. 6. When Rikki Tikki asks about Nag, Darzee and his wife, only coward, shrink down in the nest without answering. Based on what you learned about Nag in the next few sentences, why would Darzee and his wife have cowered? A. Nag is a predator, hunter in the garden, and Darzee and his wife are afraid of him. B. Nag is a potential prey, food of Darzee and his wife, and they are hunting him. C. Nag is a predator of the garden, and Darzee and his wife are hunting him. Number 7. When Nag introduces himself to Rikki Tikki, what does Nag want Rikki Tikki to know about him? A. That he has power in the garden and wants to intimidate Rikki Tikki. B. That he was a black cobra and is favored by Brahm. C. That he would attack Rikki Tikki's family. 8. How does the family treat Rikki Tikki after he kills Karit? A. They were scared of him. B. They were angry at him. C. They fear he is going to hurt Teddy. D. They will sing his praise, or like and admire him. 9. What detail from the story best supports your answer to number 8? How the family treats Rikki Tikki after he kills Karit. A. And then Teddy's mother picked him up from the dust and hugged him, crying that he had saved Teddy from death. And Teddy's father said that he was a providence, or sent from God. And Teddy looked on with big scared eyes. B. I don't like that, said Teddy's mother. He may bite the child. He'll do no such thing, said the father. Teddy is safer with that little beast than if he had a bloodhound to watch him. C. Rikki Tikki felt his eyes growing red and hot. When a mongoose's eyes grow red, he is angry. And he sat back on his tail and hind legs like a little kangaroo and looked all around him and chattered with rage. Number 10. When Teddy's parents wake Rikki Tikki from his sleep following the battle with Nagina, he says, "What are you bothering for? All the cobras are dead. And if they weren't, I'm here." What does this reveal about how he feels about the battle? A. He feels anxious that he didn't remove the threat of cobras from the garden. B. He feels a sense of arrogance because he removed the threat and will continue to protect the family. C. He feels angry because he no longer has snakes to fight with and eat. D. He feels sorrowful that he had to kill the cobras to protect the family. Number 11. Which piece of textual evidence is an example of foreshadowing, or a possible warning of what may happen in the future? A. One day, a high summer flood washed him out of the burrow where he lived with his father and mother, and he carried him, kicking and clucking, down a roadside ditch. B. He had forgotten the egg. It still lay on the veranda, and Nagina came nearer and nearer to it. C. The house was as still, but he thought he could just catch the faintest scratch in the world, a noise as faint as that of a wasp walking on a window pane, the dry scratch of a snake's scales on brickwork. Number 12. Choose one summary that best answers the following question. How does Nag die? A. Rikki attacks Nag's tail and follows him into the rat hole. When Rikki returns from the hole alone, the reader knows Nag has been defeated. Darzi sings a triumph song and the gardener is peaceful at last. B. Nag emerges from the dusty brown path as Teddy bends down to pet Rikki. Unaware of the danger, Rikki finally manages to give a paralyzing bite, and Teddy's father beats Nag to death with a stick. C. Rikki hears the movement of snakes crawling into the bathroom sluice. Rikki waits till he is sure Nagina had left while Nag plans to wait till morning to kill Teddy's father. As Nag falls asleep, Rikki is able to get a tight clasp on Nag's head above his hood. Rikki holds on tightly as he thrashed about violently until Teddy's father shoots Nag with a shotgun. 13. After Rikki Tikki kills Nag, you can infer that Nagina will A. Leave the family alone, B. Will give Rikki Tikki a gift, C. Leave Darzi's babies alone, or D. Try to get revenge. Number 14. Which piece of evidence supports your answer to number 13? A. Nag is dead, sang Darzi. The valiant Rikki Tikki caught him by the head and held fast. The big man brought the bang stick and Nag fell in 2 pieces. He will never eat my babies again. B. Well, it may be some consolation to you when you're dead to know that I shall settle accounts with the boy. My husband lies on the rubbish heap this morning, but before the night the boy in the house will lie very still. C. The big snake turned half round and saw the egg on the veranda. Ah, give it to me, she said. Number 15. Nagina causes conflict or trouble for Rikki Tikki because A. She wants revenge on Darzi, B. She wants to protect her eggs, C. She is starving and wants food, D. She wants to move to another garden. Number 16. Which of the following details from the story best supports your answer for number 15? A. Everything. When there were no people in the bungalow, did we have any mongoose in the garden? So long as the bungalow is empty, we are king and queen of the garden. And remember that as soon as our eggs in the melon bed hatch, as they may tomorrow, our children will have room and quiet. B. He bit, indeed, but did not bite long enough, and he jumped clear of the whisking tail, leaving Nagina torn and angry. C. Indeed and truly, you've chosen a bad place to be lame in. and she moved towards Darcy's wife, slipping along over the dust. Number 17. In which two ways does Darcy's wife help Rikki Tikki in his battle to destroy Nag and Nagina? A. Darcy alerts Rikki Tikki that Nagina is sneaking up to attack him. B. Darcy's wife flew off her nest and flapped her wings on Nagina's head to try to slow her down when Rikki Tikki was chasing her. C. Darcy's wife plays hurt in order to distract Nagina while Rikki Tikki destroys her eggs. Number 18. What two details from the story best support your answers to number 17? A. Behind you, look behind you, sang Darcy. Rikki Tikki knew better than to waste time in staring. He jumped up in the air as high as he could go, and just under him whizzed by the head of Nagina, Nag's wicked wife. B. I never had spirit enough to run out into the middle of the room. Hush, I mustn't tell you anything. Can't you hear, Rikki Tikki? C. But Darcy's wife was wiser. She flew off her nest as Nagina came along, and flapped her wings about Nagina's head. If Darcy had helped, they might have turned her, but Nagina only lowered her hood and went on. D. She fluttered in front of Nagina by the rubbish heap and cried out, "Oh, my wing is broken. The boy in the house threw a stone at me and broke it." Then she fluttered more desperately than ever. Number 19. How is the conflict between Rikki Tikki and the cobras resolved? A. Rikki Tikki followed Nagina into her hole. B. The family saves Rikki Tikki. C. Rikki Tikki wins his fight by killing Nagina and destroying the final egg. D. Rikki Tikki took a nap to prepare. Number 20. What detail from the story best supports your answer to number 19? A. Rikki Tikki, covered with dirt, dragged himself out of the hole leg by leg, licking his whiskers. Darcy stopped with a little shout. Rikki Tikki shook some of the dust out of his fur and sneezed. "It is all over," he said. "The widow will never come out again." B. Then the grass by the mouth of the hole stopped waving, and Darcy said, "It is all over with Rikki Tikki. We must sing his death song. Valiant Rikki Tikki is dead." C. Rikki Tikki curled himself up in the grass and slept where he was. Slept and slept till it was late in the afternoon, for he had done a hard day's work. Number 21. Sort the following events into the correct order that they occurred in the story. A. Rikki Tikki gets washed away by the summer flood and found by the family. B. Rikki Tikki fights and kills Karit in the dusty earth outside the bungalow. C. Rikki Tikki kills Nag in the bathroom and the big man throws Nag on the rubberish heap. D. Rikki Tikki destroys all but one of the cobra eggs to bait Nagina away from the family. E. Rikki Tikki follows and kills Nagina in the cobra hole. The other animals in the garden rejoice in his victory. Directions. Read the article Up Close with the World's Biggest Snake and answer the questions that follow. Up close with the world's biggest snake. Jesus Rivas waded through the murky, knee-deep water, using his bare feet to feel what his eyes couldn't see. Suddenly, he felt an enormous, muscular body slithering through the mud. For most people, this would be terrifying. For Rivas, it was exhilarating. "I started crawling around," remembers Rivas. "I could feel the snake getting thinner, so I knew I was getting closer to the head. Perhaps a little too close, as it turned out. The snake spun around and bit me," Rivas calls. "Then I knew where the head was, of course, attached to my shoulder." The snake eventually released Rivas' shoulder, only to bite him on the hand. Despite his injuries, Rivas persevered, or continued on, and captured the immense, or huge, reptile, something he accomplished hundreds of times. Rivas is a scientist who studies green anacondas, the world's biggest and heaviest snakes. After he catches one, he usually examines it and then releases it back into the wild. In fact, the snake that bit him was one he had captured previously. Rivas had named it Maroon. Supersized snakes. Green anacondas live in the Amazon region of South America. Rivas studies them in the swamps of Venezuela, but they also live in nearby countries like Brazil. These snakes are massive, or very large. Some people have reported seeing anacondas that are 32 feet long. Rivas is skeptical, or not convinced about that, since the largest anaconda he has observed are 17 feet long. But that's still remarkable, especially considering that these snakes also measure a foot across and weighed more than 200 pounds. On the hunt. Anacondas spend the majority of their time underwater. With their eyes situated on top of their heads, they can hide almost completely underwater and watch for meal to wander by. At meal times, an anaconda coils around its prey, squeezing very tightly until the animal suffocates. Then the snake swallows its meal whole. For such a sizable creature, an anaconda can move speedily when it hunts. And a large anaconda can consume or eat almost any animal it finds, including deer and canids, reptiles related to alligators or crocodiles. There are records of snakes eating prey that are 160% of their body weight, reports Rivas. So a 200-pound anaconda could eat something that weighs 300 pounds, no problem. Amazon home. Because most anacondas live underwater in areas not frequented by people, humans and anacondas rarely ever encounter one another. So how many anacondas are out there? Plenty, asserts Rivas. Anacondas number in the thousands. However, Rivas worries that populations may diminish or get smaller in the future. It's an animal spread throughout the Amazon, and the Amazon is in danger, he explains. Large areas of the Amazon wilderness are being destroyed as more and more farms and residences are built. Anacondas are at the top of the food chain. If their prey animals start disappearing, anacondas could suffer too. More to learn. Since the late 1980s, when Rivas began studying anacondas, he has captured more than 900 of them. Sometimes he makes a snake swallow a transmitter before he releases it. The transmitter enables Rivas to follow the anaconda's movements, record its lifespan, and more. Occasionally, Rivas has kept some anacondas in captivity to study how they breed. Scientists still have plenty to learn about the animals. We want to learn about their biology because that will make us better prepared to face any problems in the future, Rivas says. So Rivas will continue wading into crocodile-infested waters to study anacondas. But will he ever consider wearing shoes? Not a chance. It's easier to locate anacondas with bare feet, Rivas explains. If a croc bites you, he adds, the shoe isn't going to help. 22. Which of the following best conveys or expresses the central idea of the article? A. Jesus Rivas loves anacondas, so he never wears shoes when looking for them. B. Jesus Rivas, a scientist, studies anacondas to learn more about them and help protect the species. C. Anacondas are the largest snakes in the world. D. Anaconda populations are diminishing because of the deforestation as homes and residences are built. Number 23. Read the sentences. For most people, this would be terrifying. For Rivas, it was exhilarating. Based on clues from the passage, what does the word exhilarating mean? A. Exciting and thrilling. B. Curious and anxious. C. Boring and dull. D. Cute and lovable. Number 24. Which of the following shows a contrast or difference between the cobras in the story and the anacondas in the article? A. The cobras are the world's largest and heaviest snakes, while the anacondas are smaller and venomous? B. The cobras and anacondas can be very fast when hunting? C. The cobras live and hunt in the garden, while the anacondas spend most of their time underwater watching for prey? D. The cobras and anacondas are both losing their habitats as people build more homes. Congratulations! You have finished your test.